What's up guys, it's Jen. Welcome back to another Friday 5. Today I'm going to be talking about 5 palettes that are under $5, and it's kind of insane when you think about it because it's hard to find a blush or a mascara at the drugstore for less than $5. So to find a whole palette for that is really incredible. So I'm going to be sharing some eyeshadow palettes as well as some face palettes. And are they as good as high-end palettes? No, I'm going to put that out there right away. I'm not trying to say you can spend $5 and get a palette that's going to perform the same way as a $50 palette, but they are really good for the price. And I think if you just kind of tweak the formulas, work with them a little bit, like some of the shimmers maybe don't pick up as well with a brush as a higher end palette would, but if you use your finger or if you wet your brush, you can get the same effect. So I think for the price, these are fantastic, and I think they can definitely compete with anything else at the drugstore that might be $10, $15, or $20. So why don't we go ahead and just jump right in. I'll show you the palette that I'm wearing on my face today, and that's the Profusion Pink Nudes face palette. So in here, you have eyeshadows on the top, you also have a blush and then 2 highlighters. And this palette is $5, so you're really getting a lot for the money in here. I'll go ahead and show you some swatches. And when you see it all swatched out, it looks really pigmented, and it is to an extent. If you're going to apply the shimmer shades with your fingers, they go on beautifully, and I do think Profusion does mattes really well. I didn't have any issues blending these on my eyes at all. I've never had an issue with the matte shades in Profusion palettes. Usually it's more the shimmers that, you know, I have to work with a little bit to get my desired result. But honestly, where are you going to get a face palette with 9 eyeshadows and 3 cheek products for $5? I mean, it's totally crazy, and it's actually way better quality than I would have thought. So I'll just quickly show you what I'm wearing. I put the shade Heavenly in my crease. This is just a really light brown matte shade. And then I put the shade Heart on my lid, and then the shade Hope on my outer corner just a little bit. It's more of a medium brown shade, and I think the look is just really soft and pretty and easy to wear, and every shade in this palette is really super easy to wear. I don't necessarily think this would be great for deeper skin tones. I think it's more suited towards light skin tones, but I think they make another version of this that might be a little bit deeper, but I just found that there's no deep shades in this palette. That's my one complaint. It doesn't have any deeper, smokier shades, so I didn't have something to put in the outer corner that was deeper, which I normally like to do for my looks, but I just decided to keep it really simple and easy today. So I think if you're just into really soft, simple eyeshadow looks, this is amazing. And then number 2 on my list are these Wet n Wild Color Icon 10-pan palettes. These are so good for the price. They're $4.99, I want to say, and they're just amazing, and I love the color schemes that they came up with. A lot of them are actually dupes for other palettes. I did an entire video on that, and I will show you some comparison swatches of all the ones that are dupes, but they're just so good for the price. Inside you have 2 transition shades, and they're actually marked transition, so it's the larger shades right here that you're likely to use more of, so they made them a little bit larger. And then you have 8 shades in the middle, mix of matte and shimmer finishes, and these shadows are so pigmented. I would say, again, my only complaint with it, and it's not even really a complaint, is that they're a little tougher to pick up with a brush than, say, a higher end palette. Like for example, this Cosmic Collision one is a dupe for the Anastasia Prism palette, which I'll show you swatches of in a second. And even though the colors are the same, I find the Anastasia formula a little bit easier to pick up with a brush. These are a little more firmly pressed into the pan. But if you're willing to use your finger with the shimmer shades, I think the mattes perform well just on their own. They blend really nicely, and the one upside to a firmer pressed palette is that it doesn't have as much fallout. So if you hate all that fallout that the Anastasia palettes have, this one does not. So it's kind of a trade-off, and it just depends really on your preferences. So I just want to quickly go through all of these palettes that I have from the collection and show you swatches and dupes if there are dupes. So let's just go ahead and start with this one right now. This one is Cosmic Collision. It's a really close dupe for the Anastasia Prism palette. You have really nice smoky shades in here, warm and cool tone mix. It's really beautiful. Next up we have VI Purple. This one is a really close dupe for the Natasha Denona Lila palette. It's really almost spot on, and it just has really beautiful purples mixed with neutrals. Next up we have Stop Playing It Safe. Again, this one is a super close dupe for the Natasha Denona Tropic palette. This one does definitely have more of a beachy vibe. You have a couple jewel tones in there mixed with some soft neutrals. Really pretty palette as well. Next we have My Glamour Squad. This one is pretty much a spot-on dupe for the Soft Glam palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. And this one is just your everyday warm tone neutrals, really easy to wear these shades. And next up we have Rosé in the Air. This one is a dupe for the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette. It's super duper similar. It's mostly warm tone, but you also have some really beautiful cool tones in here as well. And then next up we have Not a Basic Peach. I think a lot of people were saying this was supposed to be a dupe for a Kylie palette. I don't have that one, unfortunately, so I'll just show you swatches of this on its own. But again, it's more warm tones. There's a pop of bright blue in here. And then next up we have Comfort Zone. This is one of the original palettes that they had back in the day before they reformulated. And back then it was one of my favorite drugstore palettes to reach for just because of these earthy tones. I love wearing these colors, so I still reach for this one quite a bit. And then last but not least, we have Nude Awakening. This is also more of a neutral palette, but this one is more cool tone than the others. So if you love cool tones, this is a great drugstore option. And then next up we have these Profusion 10-pan palettes. These are $5 each, and I have most of them. I think I'm missing the smoky one, and there's also one that's got really bright colors in it. I grabbed these at Target a while back. I haven't seen them there in a while though, so I don't know if they're still carrying this part of the collection at Target or if they're just on their website, but these 10-pan palettes are amazing. Just because, like I said before, Profusion does mattes so well. These matte shades blew me away in terms of pigmentation. If you don't like pigmented eyeshadows, you may want to stay away from these. These are so good. I just kept saying, like, this is not a $5 palette. How could it be? The shimmer shades are really good as well for the most part. I find them to be a little bit hit and miss across the different palettes. Sometimes you'll get one like this white shade that just kind of hardly picks up on your finger and it's a little more sheer. And then you'll get ones like this turquoise that are just crazy, crazy pigmented. I don't know if these are even showing up for you guys. Yeah, so you can kind of see the difference there. This white one is just a little bit more weak, but the turquoise is super strong and super pigmented. So with the shimmer shades, I find there's a little bit more variation in quality, but with the mattes, again, Profusion does mattes so well, and these are super pigmented and blend really nicely. They do have a little bit of fallout. They're very, very soft, but that makes them easy to pick up, so it's just kind of a trade-off. I always just make sure I tap off my brush really well. So let's go ahead and show you swatches of all the different palettes. This first one is Sapphires, and this one gives you your beautiful blue shades as well as some neutral shades. And then next up we have Shimmers, and just like the name, it has all shimmer shades in it. So this isn't one that I reach for all that often just because I usually like to have a mix of matte and shimmers to create an eye look, but if you love shimmer shades, they're beautiful. I also really love this one. This one is Classics, and it's just your everyday nude palette. Kind of reminds me of Soft Glam a little bit. Definitely some very similar shades in here, though not a spot-on dupe. And then next up we have Royals. This one has some gorgeous jewel tones in it and a few warm tone neutrals mixed in. And then last but not least we have Mattes. This one is all matte shades, kind of going a little more towards the neutral to warm tone side, but really, really pretty. And then next up, I have two blush palettes to share with you. These are both from Profusion as well. There's Blush 1 and Blush 2. These are $5 a piece as well. And I find that Blush 1 is probably better suited toward my skin tone, like maybe light to medium. Just really beautiful, soft shades. And then Blush 2 has some deeper shades in it and really actually has some lighter ones in it as well. But I really can't use this half of the palette over here just because these are a little too dark for me. So I mainly stick to this one. But I'll go ahead and show you some swatches. And this is Blush 1. And I just think that these shades are so easy to blend. They're so pretty. You have a couple in here that have some shimmer and a couple of matte ones. But even the ones that have shimmer aren't like crazy shimmery or glittery or anything. So I don't find that they're highlighting pores and texture on my face. They just look really soft and natural. And then here's a look at Blush 2. As you can see, for me, it's a little too dark, but if you have medium to deep skin tone, you could certainly wear most of these colors. And even the lighter ones then you could always use as highlights because the lighter ones do have shimmer in them. So if you can't use them as a blush, there's always at least another use for them. So I think these are really awesome just because you have a lot of colors in here to pick from if you're going to be going on travel and you want a nice selection, or just, you know, don't want to have to reach for single blushes all the time and just would rather grab from a palette. You really can't go wrong with these. They're $5 and I think the formula is so good on them. And then last but not least are these $5 palettes from a brand called Believe Beauty. They're a new brand available at Dollar General stores and also on the website. I did a whole video on it, so if you're new to my channel or if you haven't seen that one yet, I'll link it either above or down in the description box below. And these palettes are so good for $5. I cannot get over it. They're 6-pan palettes. There's a bunch of them to choose from, and I just think the formula is amazing. The shimmer shades in particular really blew me away with these because, like I said, they're kind of hit and miss in some of the other palettes, but in these, they are so rich and buttery. They feel very, very high end, and the matte shades are really good too. They're super blendable and silky. So I was just super impressed with how these applied. I've used all of them now at this point and really, really enjoy them all. So I'll go ahead and show you some swatches of what all the shades look like. The first one is Nearly Nude, and this one is just like your everyday basic neutral palette. You have a nice mix of both matte and shimmer shades in here. And then the second one is called Plush Purples, and this one, again, like the name, it has some purple shades. You also have kind of some grayish taupey colors. It's just more cool toned overall, so I really enjoy this one as well. Next up is Golden Disco. This one I don't use as much just because it's an all shimmer palette, but it does have a gorgeous shiny gold shade, as well as a green and a bronze. It has a little bit more of an earthy vibe to it. And then the last one is Into the Blue. This one is actually one of my favorites, and I never thought I would say that about a blue eyeshadow palette, but these blues are just more toned down and easier to wear, I feel like, than a lot of other blues in other palettes. So I've just been enjoying wearing this one, and I think it's going to be great going into the summertime. All right, you guys, so those are my picks for 5 palettes under $5. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, and also let me know down in the comments below if you've tried any of these and what your favorites are. I would love to chat with you guys and hear your thoughts, and if you have any other suggestions for $5 palettes, let me know that as well. Also, if you're new to my channel, or if you're not and you just haven't subscribed yet, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below so you don't miss a future video. I do a ton of drugstore reviews as well as hauls every Sunday. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!